Good day. Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1625. Today, we are using Morsels of a Thought of wisdom borrowed from other people. Um, we want to be wise because knowing what to do is a form of wisdom in life. Knowing the right thing to do is a form of wisdom. And doing it is a form of virtue. So if we want to bring more virtue into the world, which is my goal, then we want to know more souls of a thought of wisdom. So here today, we've got this book cover is white. Millennial Samurai, Book 1, A Mindset for the 21st Century by George J. Chanos. Now, George J. Chanos was the former Attorney General for Nevada. And at one point in his career, he had been wanting to run for president. And he told us at a luncheon that the reason he didn't is that he found out there was too much shiftiness going on, just saying something and doing something different. So he got out of that. So today I want to go through the introduction of the Millennial Samurai. We have read the foreword. This is the introduction. Okay. Change is coming. The next 5 years will create significant disruption. In 10 years, artificial intelligence, AI, will exceed human intelligence. And in less than 30 years, AI will redefine life as we know it in a way that is beyond our ability to even comprehend. This book was printed in 2019, so we are already 6 years into this issue. The next 5 years will create significant disruption. We have had significant disruption. America is at a tipping point, with radical changes already underway. These changes will test our competency, our sense of community, our beliefs, and our resolve. And yet today, the vast majority of us are unprepared for these tectonic changes. At a time when we should be planning and preparing, we are instead divided by race, age, sex, religion, economics, and identity politics, and we are paralyzed by political dysfunction. Okay, at this moment, Yin Yang is going to step in and make a pause at the third paragraph. Fourth paragraph. Millennials will be at the vanguard of this change, and the decisions that they make will affect all of us, millennials. Now, we are divided by race, sex, religion, economics. I'm not Catholic, you're Catholic. I'm female, you're not female. I'm 50, you're not 50. I'm Chinese, you're not Chinese. And identity economics, I'm poor and you're rich. Identity politics, I am who I am. I am dressed like a Japanese warrior today. I don't know if I really am, but this would be something a little akin to it. Believe me or not, I am wearing a bathing suit underneath this. Okay. Dates, well, I'm not really actually. Dates used to define millennials range from 1978 to 2004. Some classify those born in the United States between 1978 and 1997 as millennials. Others use 1980 to 2004 to identify their period of birth. They are defined here as the over 85 million people born in the United States during the above time frames. While Millennial Samurai speaks directly to millennials, it wasn't written exclusively for them. It's dedicated to my children who are millennials, but I wrote it for anyone and everyone who wants to get more out of their one and only life, for everyone who understands that change is coming and wants to be part of that change, the leaders of tomorrow. Yes, I want to be part of that change. That's why I'm reading this book to you. The opportunities available to millennials are beyond extraordinary. Some of these opportunities will radically transform life as we know it. I plan to read these on Mondays when I have room. In 2014, Stephen Hawking said that success in creating AI would be, quote, the biggest event in human history, end quote. Hawking believed that in the coming decades, AI could offer, quote, incalculable benefits and risks, end quote. Advances in areas like AI, genomics, biotechnology, nanotechnology, space travel, renewable energy, 3D printing, cloud computing, and the Internet of Things promise a future unlike anything we can currently even comprehend. The challenges that this generation will face are equally significant. They include social, political, and economic instability and uncertainty, increased unemployment, and the inadequacy of education, racial, social, and economic inequalities and injustice, environmental threats and resource limitations, cultural and religious tensions, an absence of political accountability, vision and leadership, and the opportunities and dangers of technology, to name just a few. Next part. All of this is coming much faster than we realize or are accustomed to experiencing. In 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, Yuval Noah Harari says, quote, in the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution created new conditions and problems that none of the existing social, economic, and political models could cope with. Feudalism, monarchism, and traditional religions were not adapted to managing industrial metropolises, millions of uprooted workers, or the constantly changing nature of the modern economy. Consequently, humankind had to develop completely new models, liberal democracies, communist dictatorships, and fascist regimes, and it took more than a century of terrible wars and revolutions to experiment with these models, separate the wheat from the chaff, and implement the best solutions. Next section. The challenges that we will face this 21st century are much bigger than the challenges posed by the Industrial Revolution. I'll read that again. The challenges that we will face in the 21st century are much bigger than the challenges posed by the Industrial Revolution. And given the destructive power of our current civilization, we cannot afford more failed models. Harari says, quote, this time around, failed models might result in nuclear wars, genetically engineered monstrosities, and a complete breakdown of the biosphere. End quote. What will the world look like in 2050 when machines do virtually everything faster, cheaper, and more efficiently than humans, and the world no longer needs cheap, unskilled labor? Some suggest that America may not even exist as a sovereign nation, that a united world government might be making decisions for us, providing for our, quote, basic income, end quote, or, quote, basic services, end quote, and controlling our daily lives. That may sound improbable, but it is by no means inconceivable. Nationalism is clearly in decline, and its most vocal advocates are its biggest liability. In Morsels of a Thought, I am reading to you pieces of wisdom from people like George J. Chanos in the Millennial Samurai Book 1, A Mindset for the 21st Century. This book is downloadable for free on his website. You yeah. You you where is it? I'll find it. for you, and I'll put it in the comments. Um, UV, U, U, where is it? Can't find it. At the moment, I am at a loss of where to find it. But Google this. You will find it. You will find that it is downloadable for free. You can buy this or you can download it for free. So, will the freedoms we take for granted today still exist in 30 years? Will our relationships with each other be marked by collaboration or conflict? Will governments be more or less efficient and or accountable? These are just some of the questions that each and every one of us should be thinking and talking about. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Most of us believe that we can't afford the luxury of thinking about these things. We're far too busy dealing with the challenges of daily life. We have to pay the rent, feed the kids, get to work, and care for our parents. Unfortunately, we find ourselves at a tipping point with a tsunami of technical change on the horizon. The future of humanity will be decided by the course we chart, or the one that is charted for us over the next 30 years. And the disturbing reality is you and your children won't be immune from the consequences of those decisions just because you're too busy feeding and caring for your family. In other words, the change is going to hit us whether you're ready or not. You don't have the luxury of not thinking about these things. That's this whole section of it about it. As Benjamin Franklin, author, scientist, statesman, and diplomat said, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. To make matters even more urgent, scientists, corporations, and governments are now learning to hack the human brain. How to hack the human brain. Over the next 30 years, scientists believe that we will learn not only how to hack brains, but how to design them and to create or terminate thoughts at our discretion. This creates unprecedented opportunity and risk. Yet none of these issues are even on the political radar, let alone on the political agenda. Politics doesn't understand this yet, and they're not even noticing it. We are being told that immigrants are going to take our jobs, not that computers are going to take our jobs, which is the truth. And yet computers are going to take our jobs, millions of our jobs. If government continues to fail us, history has taught us that the public will eventually rise up and demand change. But government control of the media, including attempts to control social media, obscures the truth and keeps people distracted. As Harari says, now here's a really bold-faced one, quote, through its monopoly over the media, the ruling oligarchy can repeatedly blame all its failures on others and divert attention to external threats, either real or imaginary. If the nation is facing external invasion or diabolical subversion, who has time to worry about overcrowded hospitals or polluted rivers? End quote. Ted Turner, founder of CNN, has also expressed concern over the role of the media, saying, quote, the media is too concentrated. Too few people own too much. That's really 5 companies that control 90% of what we read, see, and hear. It's not healthy. Both Harari and Turner are right. The media is no longer a source of objective information, if it ever was one, and this only serves to amplify the need for critical thinking and discernment. I watch PBS. I don't watch Fox News. Fox News is full of very big lies. Look at all the rest of the media. Everybody else says the same thing except Fox News. Funk. Millennial Samurai is intended to stimulate thought and discussion, to promote critical thinking and discernment, to help us participate in the discussions that will shape our future, and to help us understand what to teach our kids. It is intended to provide the guidance, encouragement, and direction that can inspire transformative, life-changing action that can change and improve our lives, and it is written in the hope that it may inspire and empower new leadership. I try to inspire you to have a great day, and I want to entertain you a bit, impart some good wisdom, and we will educate the world together. Author says, I certainly don't claim to have the answers to the world's problems. I believe, as Aristotle and Socrates did, that, quote, the man who thinks he knows everything knows nothing at all, end quote. The only thing that I know for certain is that there is a great deal that I do not know. We don't require all the answers, but we do need to start asking the right questions, and we do need to be having a dialogue surrounding all the important issues of our age now rather than later. Millennial Samurai is intended to contribute to and facilitate that dialogue. How we think and how we act influences every aspect of our lives. Millennial Samurai provides insights, examples, and suggestions on how to successfully overcome obstacles, seize opportunities, and advance your objectives, all of which are extremely relevant to leveraging the opportunities and navigating the challenges ahead. Where's my pencil? Okay. If it helps even a small group of readers to improve their lives, it will have been well worth the effort. The following 182 chapters are intentionally short. The limited discussion of each subject is intended to alert, inspire, and encourage you to learn more. The subjects chosen for Book 1 are intended to identify and introduce important foundational concepts, subjects, and resources. It is not a complete guide to everything you need to know, but it's a good and empowering start. Books 2 and 3, which will be written over the next several years, will offer further guidance and direction. Think of Millennial Samurai as a resource, a combination of guiding principles, essential tools, and useful reconnaissance. Those who want to seize the phenomenal opportunities ahead while avoiding a myriad of potential threats will need to adapt to a rapidly and radically changing environment. They will need to leverage their strengths while mitigating their weaknesses. They will need to embrace the ancient core values that have allowed prior generations to succeed while developing their own moral compass. Now, this is where I talk about virtue a lot. Virtue is where we go to an absolute standard of virtue. There are moral things to do, there are always moral answers, and those are the virtuous answers. And this gentleman is saying that we have had them through the generations and they have carried us through. They have carried us through doing good to others and doing good to yourself and doing good for your future. Okay. One that will allow to succeed while developing their own moral compass, one that will allow them to navigate the moral and ethical challenges that the technological revolution is certain to present. They will need to engage in a process of lifelong learning and critical thinking. They will need to pivot, adapt, and persevere while traversing an ever evolving landscape that can't even be imagined, let alone predicted, one that we can scarcely even currently comprehend. Those who are able to do this will be the millennial samurai, who will lead their generation and future generations through the 21st century. Now, this gentleman is saying that there is a set of moral and ethical challenges that the technological revolution is certain to present. There is a set of risks of, in other words, there are goods and there are evils. The risks are the evils. The good are the virtues. And we want to have virtues. So what we need to do is whoever is creating the algorithms, AI, need to be taught that virtue is the essence of our lives. This is interesting to me. I am speaking in general. What I'm trying to say is that if we aren't virtuous in our programming, coding, if we aren't doing that, then we are actually not creating a good future. For example, if it doesn't say thou shalt not steal in an inventory worksheet for but done by AI, then you will say, "Oh dear, somebody took something and they won't know how it got out of there." But if the AI says thou shalt not steal in it, in the core of it, then as soon as somebody takes something, it will set an alert, an alarm to say, hey, somebody took something. So what I'm saying is that algorithms are the first thing to write before you are coding or hacking a computer program. I was taught this by Mr. Wong in high school in 1984. And what it means is that computer programmers have always sat down and coded. In fact, I have coded. I have not coded, but I have written code. And it is so tempting to write one sentence of the algorithm that isn't finished yet and then start coding. And then you go 25 minutes in and you realize you didn't even put this part of the algorithm into what you just are approaching. So we have a problem. We have a big problem. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say today. I want to go into the rest of this next part is on millennials, and he's talking about who millennials are. Okay, I'm going to talk about it next week because we'll start on the first paragraph and the last paragraph here first. Millennials, or the entitlement generation, may be the most misunderstood and maligned generation in modern history. Many have been characterized as having a delusional sense of entitlement. While some millennials may deserve this characterization, the majority clearly do not. Millennials are the most educated, technically advanced, socially networked, ethnically diverse, and globally oriented generation in human history. And what some see as their weaknesses may actually be the very strengths that will allow them to survive and thrive in a future that will look nothing like our past. The Pew Research Center's reports on millennials reveal a highly intelligent and complex generation. They have high expectations and won't stay at jobs they find unfulfilling. Millennials are the first generation to question work as a priority. In contrast to prior generations, they place quality of life first and work second. Money is not how millennials keep score. They're searching for something more. Perhaps they're smarter than their baby boomer parents and they want to make the most of their one and only life, which causes them to prioritize experience over money. Millennials are more accepting of differences, not just among women, minorities, and the LGBTQ community, but in everyone. Many don't go to church because they don't identify with big institutions. There are, okay, what emerges is a complex generation that has significant strengths and weaknesses. As baby boomers get older, they will become increasingly less productive. During this period, advances in technology will literally redefine life as we know it. Since 2016, millennials have become the largest generational employee group. Employee, oh, hold on. In response to employee pressure, Google announced that it would not renew its contracts for Project Maven or Dragonfly, developed in China. Oh boy. Companies like Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, and Salesforce are also seeing pushback from millennial employees on projects and practices that involve climate change, immigration, sexual harassment, and diversity. Their society as a whole. needs to be focused not on ridiculing and denigrating millennials, but on educating and empowering them. Okay, so don't make fun of people, teach people. Okay, I'll talk to you later, old Kinderhook.